I will start with the first category. So the first category is the best master thesis, and so this year we had quite a few submissions. The winner is Alexandre Guye-Bergeret for his work Impact Finance for Climate Smart Agriculture, a cost-benefit analysis of initiatives in Latin America from the University of Gallen. So Alexandre, I will ask you to join, and you will have the opportunity to present in a few minutes your work. The work has been selected by the committee because of its rigor, of course, but also because of its focus on Global South. And we've discussed about the importance of agriculture finance during the prior discussion. And this work is featuring some very interesting tools, financial tools, in order to promote agriculture finance in the Global South. And that's the reason why people were very enthusiastic with this work. So Alexandre, I don't know if Alexandre is in. Yes, here you are in the room. So congratulations. Here is your diploma, your certificate, and I leave you the floor for about 5 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everybody, or good evening. First of all, I want to thank the jury for this recognition of my work. It's a privilege to be here today to present my master thesis in this beautiful room, to present it on impact finance for climate smart agriculture. So basically, my research started with a very practical question by witnessing through my work that the willingness to invest for climate smart infrastructure investments were rather low sometimes. So my question was, how can innovative instruments positively impact the risk-return profile of climate smart agriculture investments? So basically, I wanted to research how to decrease the risks of such investments and basically mobilize capital for smallholder farmers in face of climate change in the Global South. So in Latin America, smallholder farmers are faced with an interlinked challenge. The first one is the climate change puts a high pressure on those crops. So typically, they are faced with droughts, pests, and land degradation. And on the other hand, their access to finance is very limited. So traditional lenders, they see those investments as pretty risky. And the financing gaps then prevent those smallholder farmers to invest in their resilience and long-term practices. So the initiative I studied seeks to overcome this challenge. It links, on the one hand, plantation renewal. So typically, coffee crops need to be renewed every 15 years to have better productivity. With the adoption of climate-smart agricultural practices, which means typically the adoption of organic production, agroforestry system, or better land use practices. So those practices, they not only improve soil and productivity, but also resilience for smallholder farmers. And they also can generate carbon removal units, or carbon credits, as we know them sometimes. So what makes this model particularly innovative is the use of carbon removal units as collateral. So it can typically decrease the risks of those investments. So it brings an additional layer of security for investors and basically hope to unlock financing for farmers in the Global South and beyond. So to assess this model, I combined a cost-benefit analysis and a credit risk assessment, and there are 3 main findings. So basically, the farmers that adopt the project see their long-term revenues over the project baseline scenario increase over 9%, so which is pretty good for them. And at the same time, the risk is reduced significantly with the collaterals in the forms of carbon credits, which represent 40% of the loan value at maturity. And most importantly, the repayment capacity of smallholder farmers is improved, basically by having additional income streams, but also more stable incomes and an increased income. So what this means is basically that impact investments, they don't have to be concessional or always high risk, but that's with the right design in practice, they can have an attractive risk return for investors and substantial social and environmental benefits. So for me, an important rewarding aspect was the quite practical aspect of this research, because I was working with local partners and local farmer organizations. And it ensured that it was not only an academic research, but a real research grounded in practice. And in fact, the findings they have already supported the approval of a pilot project, so it opens the door of scaling this model even further. So looking ahead, I believe the model tested in this thesis can serve as a blueprint for scaling such kind of innovative financing mechanisms in other crops and regions. And if we want agriculture to be both inclusive and sustainable, we need capital to flow differently. So long-term orientation is key, and rewarding the best practice and resilience. Finally, I want to also thank my supervisor, who was also an award winner for this prize, and FIR-Capital, which is the company I was working with for this project, and also my current employer between Switzerland and Colombia. And I think I forgot something, sorry. And yeah, and basically my hope is that this work, it contributes in a kind of small way to shifting capital towards climate-smart practices and more socially inclusive agricultural practices in Latin America and in the Global South in general. Thank you all for your attention.